Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to our channel. Welcome to our channel if it is your first time. And if it is your first time, thank you for stopping by. Welcome to the Always Wilson podcast, where we don't have a slogan yet. So if you have a slogan, insert that in the comments below.
Please help us.
Please help us because we have been looking for one. But anyway, today's topic is dating while being married because we think that is very, very important.
Yes.
But we want to, first things first, we want to get to last week's episode. How did you feel about it?
Honestly, this is my favorite thing that we've ever done, like content wise. It is just so fun, and I just love sitting here and getting to talk, and I don't know, I just really enjoy this. This is my thing.
Yeah, I changed up the space a little bit because we had a little bit of space issue. We're kind of like cleaning up the house a little bit. Not big renovations, but I moved to my office at work just because it's good space for us until we can move back into the house. So I edited everything, and actually the workflow was actually pretty cool. It didn't take as long as I thought it was going to take. Coloring and all of that, it wasn't too bad. So I think last week went really well.
Yeah, and like we did record it twice just because we forgot to hit record, but
Let me make sure. Okay. I'm recording.
But in terms of like how it went, it wasn't awkward at all. It was just, it flowed very well.
Yeah.
And, you know, usually when we make YouTube videos, I get really nervous and like I want it to look a certain way. But this just feels natural and I love it. I'm just like,
yeah, it does feel
guys
natural because, like you just said, I feel like I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
I know I'm talking to YouTube and talking to whoever's listening to this podcast, but like it's another thing to be able to look at you while we are talking about these certain topics.
I agree.
So
100%.
Anyway, my week went well. Did your week go well?
Yeah. It was long. It was very long. We've had some pretty.
It snowed.
Not pretty cold. It's very.
Yeah, it's like 1 degree.
I hate being cold. Like, it's my least favorite thing.
I like.
I would rather be sweating than to be cold.
Nope.
Now, winter fashion is superior, but. I mean, can we just get like 70-degree weather?
70? No, I'm good with like 60-degree weather.
Even 60. I'm good with 60. I'll take 60.
Not all year round.
But
60.
4 degrees.
But I don't like the 115, 4, 5, 6 weeks of summer where you go straight. Like
that's rough.
That is very, very rough.
Yeah, especially the older I get, and you know, I don't want to be out there in tiny little shorts anymore.
Yeah, but anyway, my week went well. Chasta's week went well. It snowed.
Yeah.
But we need to get into this topic, which we think is very, very important.
Yes,
and that is dating within your marriage.
Not dating other people.
Yeah, not dating other people. But before we start, we just want to say that anything that we say on this podcast is not shaming you.
No.
If you are listening to this podcast or watching this podcast, anything that we talk about, it's just a conversation between my wife and I.
Yeah.
This is what we do to make things work. And if you take any of what we do and you want to apply it to your marriage, then that's on you. I'm in no way saying, listen to this podcast because Chas and I are right and you have to do it this way.
Not at all.
These are just, touchy subjects and topics that we want to talk about because these are topics that might not be talked about.
Right.
Such as this one, marriage or dating within marriage, dating your spouse within marriage. I need to keep saying that. So people don't think we're dating outside of our marriage.
We have an open marriage.
No, don't. We
not
do
at
not.
all.
Cut that out.
Listen, don't even get me started on that. That is just, I can't. Anyways, carry on. That's a whole nother topic.
So the first thing that I want to talk about, when we first started dating, it was God first, me, Chas. We had a triangle relationship. Everything we did, we talked to each other, prayed about it. So our relationship is very faith-based, and it's always been like that ever since we've met. We knew going into it as a dating couple and as a married couple that God was always going to be our first priority.
Absolutely.
So we do the same thing right now. And like I said, this might be a very touchy subject because a lot of people don't think the way we do. A lot of people think, and what I'm about to say needs to be in other categories.
It's very controversial right now, especially on TikTok.
Yeah. So Chas and I, we both agree that the order of prioritization when it comes to family should be God, marriage, kids, then parents last. And that's
parents,
something,
family, friends.
yeah, parents, family, friend, anything beyond like extended family.
Yeah.
And that is the very last thing. And we think that because of a lot of reasons. One, God is the most important thing.
Obviously.
He's the reason that we are even married or we even have kids.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we as a married couple, we grow and we grow and we grow. And if we grow apart because we're prioritizing our kids over us,
Mm-hmm.
then, you know, that's how we feel that the spark might go away because we're not prioritizing each other over our kids.
Right.
So,
yeah. And from one, it's biblical. Like it
Mhm.
literally says in the Bible, like once you get married, you leave your family and you become one with your spouse.
mhm.
So one, obviously God is the foundation of our relationship. If I'm not right with God, then I'm not going to be right with you, and I'm definitely not going to be right with our kids.
Mhm.
So I think once you get married, you step away from your family, you become one with your husband,
Mhm.
and then through that you're focused on you and God's relationship separately so you can grow closer together
Mhm.
through that and have a firm foundation. And then when you have kids, it's you and God, us,
Mhm.
then our kids, because we cannot be good parents unless we have a strong marriage and a strong foundation.
Mhm.
It just doesn't work. Like
Yeah.
the days that I'm not prioritizing Jesus and I'm not prioritizing our relationship, it's really hard to be patient with my kids. It's really hard
Mhm.
to not, I mean, obviously I love them, but it's hard to have a loving spirit when they're having a temper tantrum if I don't have that strong foundation set in stone
Mhm.
in the beginning. It just like, if you don't have, personally, I mean, like I said, you guys, we're not shaming you and you do what works for you, but in my opinion, if I'm not good with God and we're not good in our marriage, if we're having issues and that's rocky,
Yeah.
it makes everything else in my life even more so rocky.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it just ruins my whole day.
Mhm.
I'm not the best mom that I should be if those two things aren't set in place.
And we aren't saying like, oh, my kid needs to go to the ER, but I want to have sex tonight. Like, and we're
Right.
not, we're
Obviously.
you take your kid to the ER. We're not talking about like that type of like, you need to prioritize your spouse over your kids. It's more
Right.
like the first thing you think about when you wake up is, how is my spouse doing? That's what I think about when I wake up. Of course, I'm going to wake up in the middle of the morning. My morning kind of goes like, I check on my wife, make sure she's awake so that she can start getting ready for work and make sure everything is going forward. But I don't like wake up out of bed, go get my kids ready, and then an hour later go wake my wife up, and now she's running late because I didn't prioritize her. So it's just like little things.
Yeah. Or even like getting a babysitter, which I know is so hard, but getting a babysitter and going on a date.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about right now.
Or putting your kids down for bed and not just going straight to bed, staying up a little extra, talking to them, watching a show together.
Yeah.
You know, like I know dates are expensive. Do an at-home date after your kids are down. Like I know it's not something that everyone can do to just spend money, go on a date, or spend money and get a babysitter. I know childcare is so expensive and it's hard to trust people, but prioritize that time with your spouse after your kids are down or during their nap time if you're home during their nap time. That's another way. And like he was saying in the morning, like he knows that I need time to wake up and I'm not a morning person, so he will go and take over getting the kids ready. And I, like, obviously he's getting our kids ready and prioritizing their needs at that time, but he's also prioritizing my needs and what I need in the morning by doing that. So it's like he was saying, we're not neglecting our children, and
Yeah,
obviously
it's never
we
neglect.
love them and they're our world, but our relationship is the most important thing under God. Like, because like I said, it's just, it doesn't work well if that is not concrete and set firm.
And the reason we say that our family and parents and extended friends is the very last thing, it's just like, I'm not going to go to my extended family or friends before my kids or my wife's needs are met.
Right.
Like, for example, like this Christmas, we stayed home for Christmas because it was just better for my wife. She only can work I don't even know why I keep saying my wife. It was better for Chastity right here because she only gets one business day off.
Mm-hmm.
And that means we have to travel there and back and all of that. And then this is Braylon's first Christmas where he like understood Christmas. So it'd like suck for him to get his favorite toy and then for us to have to leave,
Right.
travel 3 hours, go see family and then come back. And it's a touchy situation
Yeah.
because we all want to see our family, but it's
Right.
just a decision that we made
And like
for the both of us.
for me personally, his story is a little bit different, but for me, like, family is so important for my mental health. Like, I am really close with my family,
Mm-hmm.
and so we're not saying that we don't see them. Like, they're coming this weekend, and we're doing our family Christmas this weekend, even though
Mhm.
it's January. So we are like doing that with them,
Yeah.
and they're still important in our life, and we still make time. Like this past year, we've been going almost every month. They'll either come
At
here
least
or
every
we'll go
other
there.
month. Yeah.
And so we do see them a lot, and we do think that's important. And obviously, like, they raised us and they're important and we love them.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, that's just growth. Like, as you grow, you leave your family and you become your own family and you create your own traditions. And
Mhm.
that's okay. Like, that's important. That's how it's supposed to go.
Yeah. Which leads us to our topic of conversation. This is why we do this. Now you know the backstory of how we feel about God, spouse, children, parents.
Mm-hmm.
Dating within your marriage is very, very important for us.
Yes.
And we have the system. We don't follow it every single time because money gets tight
Mm-hmm.
and some things just are impossible, but we make things work within the system. So what we
Right.
do, and I saw this on TikTok one day and have implemented it now. It's been like 2 years now, or at least a year.
It's been
But
like a year and a half.
year and a half. So every 2 weeks we go on a date, or we try and go on a date. And if we can't afford a date, we take every 2 weeks to spend time with each other.
Yeah.
Every 2 months we try. This one is the hard one.
Yeah. It's so
Because
hard.
2 months, the turnaround is really hard. Every 2 months I think we've only done it twice.
Yeah.
We want to go to a hotel or a Airbnb, or even like get a babysitter for the week and we just stay at home by ourselves.
Yeah.
But it's just the weekend every 2 months, just me and Chas.
Mm-hmm.
And then every 2 years we take a week-long vacation, no kids.
Which we did this past year.
Yeah, we just did that. We went to Orlando and did all the Universal stuff and then did a cruise. And it was very refreshing
Yeah.
because like the kids are hard.
Yeah. It's
They are
extremely
very hard. And we think that these things that we are trying to implement in our life are very, very important.
Yeah, for sure. And like I keep saying this, but I really feel like this is a vital point.
Mm-hmm.
If we are not strong in our marriage, I know for me personally, it's just so hard to be a good mom. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it makes it rough because my emotions are crazy. I don't feel like stable, and it's just, it becomes this spiral of downward emotions. And then like, it's just this buildup of emotion and like resentment,
Mm-hmm.
all because like we didn't prioritize each other that week. And
Yeah.
we're not perfect at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are months that we go without prioritizing that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really hard.
Yeah. Well, another thing I just want to say real quick is you can tell when it intensifies. Like, say we miss our every 2 weeks and now we're going like on a 1 day a month. Like, you could tell within those 3 weeks, like, hey, something is off here.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't had time to ourselves. And luckily, your mom always watches the kids
Yes.
when we need to do things, and we go to small groups and all the things. So outside of like going on actual dates, we do get time to ourselves, but it's in more of like a big setting.
Yeah.
And we are very thankful for that. But
No, we are so blessed in that area to
Yeah.
be able to go out as much as we do. My
Mhm.
mom lives here in Oklahoma with us. And then
yeah,
my aunt, who we can get into that a different time, but my aunt and uncle raised me, and they live in Texas. But even with them, if I like, she's a teacher, and so during the summer, if we need like a week,
mm-hmm.
she'll take Braylon and Brinley. She hasn't yet because Brinley's still little, but
Yeah.
she'll take the kids for a whole week and just let us do what we need to do. And so we
Mhm.
are very blessed with great grandparents, and even on your side, it's a little bit harder because they
because
live
they're like 10
8 hours away.
10.
Oh, sorry.
Get it straight.
8 or 10 hours away, and so it's kind of hard, but they're even willing, and so that I understand, like, if you don't have that, how it could be really hard to get away. And that's why I said previously, like, if all you can do is do a little at-home date night after they're down, like, do that.
Yeah. I remember one time, I think Pastor Treston was talking about this, talking about how him and Rachel, they couldn't get away. Yeah. And what they did is they rearranged their room. I think it was him. Was it him?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was him, but if it was him, it was him. If not, it was somebody else. But anyway, they couldn't get away. So what they did was they rearranged their room and did something different out of the ordinary. And like their kids were gone and they just prioritized each other. They did a different routine and that took no money.
Yeah. And then they said one time they like made a pallet on the floor in their living room and they just watched a movie, but they like ordered pizza and you know, they just sat there, and just changing your environment makes such a huge difference. Like and then just sitting there and like talking, communicating, going over, like debriefing, and like being intimate is so important too. Like, I mean, that, and like that leads from emotional too. Like if I'm not emotionally connected with you, I'm not going to be sexually connected with you, and that's just how it is. But like both of those are so important, and if you're not making time for it, it just doesn't happen.
So let's go over like kind of that schedule. That would be kind of the topic of the rest of this podcast. Let's go over a few things that we do or we like to do for our every 2 weeks. So the most easiest one that everybody is probably thinking of is you just go on a date. Like we go to, I don't know, sometimes it's been like Chick-fil-A and we go sit in the booth and we talk for 30 minutes. Other times it's Roadhouse, or sometimes we get super fancy and we go to like where, I don't know, a fancy restaurant. We dress up and
go downtown.
Go downtown. A lot of the times it's just literally going to eat, getting away from our kids and talking to each other about what's going on in the week.
Sometimes we'll go to a movie. And the thing about the movies is like people are like, well, you can't communicate at movies. We'll go get dinner and talk and then go to the movie. And just that quality time away is so nice.
Well, one thing about the movies that we do is like, well, I do this for every movie, no matter what movie I watch. But like after we go watch a movie, we talk about the movie and how we felt about it and like, you know, all of that stuff. So that's something that you can do. Like these every 2 dates, it doesn't have to be you're going to Vast.
Right.
Like
absolutely
you're not going to the top steakhouse. What is Mahogany? You're not going.
Never been there.
Never. Like we're not sitting here saying that this is what we do with our lifestyle. Every 2 weeks we're dressing up. I'm pulling out my tux. I'm pulling out my dress shoes, and we're going to Mahogany.
No.
Like a lot of the times,
I'm wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt, and we're going McDonald's. I don't know.
The 2 week one is hard. The 2 month one is hard because there's more money involved. But the 2 week one is hard because you can miss it so easily. Because the 2 week one is, like I said, we're just going out to eat. We're just going to the main event. We're going bowling. We're going, you know, walking around a trail. I don't know. So that one is so hard to miss, or so easy to miss. Sorry. Within your like everyday life. I just. Like it has to be a priority, and like that's the thing, like we do miss it sometimes, and it does affect everything, truly. Well, a lot of the times the good thing about us is if we miss it, we'll acknowledge that we miss it. She'll bring up or I'll bring up, I'll be like, hey, we missed our 2 weeks.
It's usually me. I'm like, we haven't gone on a date.
We haven't gone on a date. And I'm like, and a lot of times I'm just like, oh yeah, we haven't. Let's figure out something like today. Like I stop everything I do and figure out something. If not, figure out something for the weekend. And like I said, a lot of times it only takes like 30 minutes to get reconnected. And that is so important within dating, within your marriage. So.
And I used to think like, you know, when we first got married, that it had to be like the dress up and do the dinner, the movie, the dessert, the putt-putt, like, it has to be like this, like, 8-hour date for it to be like, you know, an actual date, you know, because like that's what you see on TV, that's what you see like influencers posting, is like this big elaborate date. And I think when we first got married, that's what I was thinking. And so when we would go to like Chick-fil-A and like eat and then go back home, I'd be like, that wasn't a date, like, but it was like, it's just taking a time out of your day to go and sit somewhere and just talk about the stupid, like, our conversations are really just about random things, like, hey, like, I had this conversation with so and so and this is how it made me feel. Like, that has nothing to do with our relationship, but it's just like talking through these emotions and thoughts that I had throughout the week with someone who I'm sharing life with. Just really connects you together. And like hearing his advice on whatever the topic is, and just hearing that he cares about random crap and that he has an opinion on how to deal with it is just, it's huge. Like, it just connects you. And so it doesn't have to be like this, like he said, it doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be crazy, just like getting away, taking time for each other and talking. That's what it's about.
And a lot of the times, like the conversations that we have when we are on our dates, on our Chick-fil-A dates or McDonald's or wherever we go, like they continue in the car and then they continue when we get back home. So our date may be like the physical place, Chick-fil-A, for 30 minutes. But we know, like, we need to, one, respect our babysitter's time, which is my mother-in-law. We need to respect her time. But we know that, like, just because we walk out of the door, like, this conversation doesn't end. The reconnecting doesn't end. And like, even sometimes we'll talk 2-3 hours after we have left Chick-fil-A or wherever.
I noticed that our car talks, like, to and from, are really good. And then like, even when we're just like laying in bed after the date, we continue the conversation. And that's another thing too, like, no, the date doesn't have to be long, but don't just do it to check it off a list either. Like, make it intentional. Because there have been times where we're just like, oh, we need to go on a date. But I don't really feel like talking to you today, so we're just gonna go on a date because we need to go on a date. No, don't do that. Like, that's just wasting your time. That's wasting your money. It's wasting a babysitter. Don't do that. Like, make it intentional. And if you don't have the energy to make it intentional, maybe pick a different night.
Or like, just be communicative and say, hey, I don't have the energy. Let's do it on Saturday. It's Monday right now. I'll probably have energy on Saturday. I don't know. Do whatever is best for you.
And that's the same thing with like being intimate too. Like, if you don't have the energy to do that, communicate that. Like, hey, not tonight, maybe tomorrow. Like, but also don't put that on the back burner either, because that's very important too. And so,
which is a good topic, a good podcast topic that we can talk about in the future.
That can be that's a whole other thing. But that's part of, and sometimes that's not even part of date night, but like, that's part of like choosing your partner, being intimate with your partner. And that's part of it. It's a whole package.
So that is how we feel about our every 2 weeks. Our next one is probably the hardest one, because what we do, we make it the hardest one because every 2 months we want to do a whole weekend away. And like I said, we are very blessed with our babysitter, which is her mom. We are very blessed with her, and childcare is taken care of.
Even if she's not there, we have a babysitter that lives by too.
But it is very hard, one, to have extra money at the end of the month to have a 2-night hotel stay. In the way that hotels are, how expensive they are right now.
It's insane. And it always falls on the worst part. Like, for example, our anniversary is during that time period of the 2 months, and we are getting away. We booked an Airbnb in Tulsa and everything. But it is so hard, and we almost didn't do it because the kids' birthdays, both of their birthdays are in February. So we're doing a combined birthday party February 10th for them. And so our anniversary is the 16th. Braylon's birthday is the 20th and Brinley's the 21st. I think that I mentioned that in the last podcast. But it makes it really hard to like afford things because it's like December happens and that's Christmas. And then we have a month of buying things for the next month. And so it's just like this big thing. And so we had a hard time booking that because it fell in the worst part of life. And it just seems like that's always how it is. And in my personal opinion, I feel like that's the enemy trying to take away that time from us. But yeah, it really does. It falls in the worst time. Like we always have something else that we have to pay for. And so a lot of times it doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's the one that can really like get away really easy. I know I said like the two week one will sneak up on you and you'll miss it. But going to Chick-fil-A, like we were talking about, is a lot cheaper than getting a hotel, a lot cheaper than getting an Airbnb. So we went on our every 2 years, we're doing a year-long one. So we went on that in September.
A year-long one?
A week-long one.
I wish.
No, I would miss my kids so much.
I know. I would die.
So we went on that in September, October. So in November came. Didn't your mom take the kids? I think she took the kids for like a day, 2 days.
What are you talking about?
They were at her house. I don't know. But we found a way to do our 2-month one.
Oh, yes. I remember what you're talking about.
But like it was just because her mom took them away from the house. They still came back.
Which, I mean, like, maybe we need to, if we can't afford a hotel, maybe we need to do that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, just like having a couple of days just at home, like maybe we go to dinner or make a little staycation out of it.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to be better about if we can't afford to go away, even still prioritizing it then.
Yeah. So like I said, this one is the hardest one, but we do think it is very important for you to have at least 2 days kid-free, like even if that involves sleeping all day.
Yeah.
Like,
and
or
like,
whatever.
Even like putting away your phone. Like that's
which
something
is very important.
I really want to work on this year. Because I do like taking pictures and everything, which is fine. Like, I think you need to take pictures to have memories.
Yeah.
But on our trip in February, I think I'm going to, like, delete all my social media and, like, just really focus on growing in a relationship. And so, like, being kidless and being, I don't want to say phoneless, but, like, kind of disconnecting from the world a little bit. Is very, very important in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's very important because, like, those 2 days can do a lot. Trust me, they can do a lot when you're together for 2 days because your next one is in 2 months. And it's kind of one of those things where, of course, a vacation, you're like, all right, I'm ready to go on vacation. But, like, the every 2 months one, I'm looking forward to it.
For sure.
Because, like, I know those 2 days, like, are much needed. But like I said, that one is the hardest one, and I don't know much more to talk about the 2-day one or the weekend one every 2 months, because it's just kind of, what else do you do for a weekend getaway trip? You either go to a hotel or Airbnb or you stay at home.
Yeah. Either way,
you have to be kidless, so there's no other option, I guess.
Yeah.
But the next one is every 2 years, we go on our big vacation as a couple.
Yeah.
Like every 2 years, we go on a family vacation. So we're going on vacation once a year. So 1 year, like this is the year where we're going on a family vacation. And like we have already agreed that we're not going to go to, Hawaii, just me and her.
Right.
Unless something, I win the lottery. I don't play the lottery, so I'm not going to win the lottery. But unless something big happens, this year is a family year, which means now is a time that we need to start booking.
Yeah, we need to get on that.
Our couples things for next year.
Yeah.
So obviously that's just a vacation. You do with your vacation what you want to do. We can go ahead and talk about our vacation that we just took and how we connected and how we got a little bit closer over our vacation.
Yeah.
So in September, we went to Orlando. It was for her birthday, September 25th. She turned 25 for her golden birthday. So it all worked out very, very nicely.
It was amazing.
We had, let's see, we drove. So it
That
was
was
rough.
interesting.
It was 20 hours and 21 back. So we had a lot of time to talk, a lot of time in the car to talk.
Yeah.
When we got there, we were at Universal for 4 days. And when we got there, we had a rest day.
Yeah.
So what we did, we got there, literally, I laid down. And we thought we were going to go out and do a lot of stuff. We didn't eventually go out, but
when we got there, it was my birthday.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to go out to dinner and then like maybe like explore Orlando a little bit. We did not do that. We took a nap. We got up. We literally went to dinner, and instead of going out after that, we went back.
Yeah, it felt
to go to sleep.
It felt like a every 2-week date.
Yeah,
that's how fast it was, and we're just like,
I'm done.
So
we have
tired.
the rest of the week. Like,
Yeah.
let's just go to bed.
So the next day we went to Universal, which you can watch all those YouTube videos and everything.
It was so fun.
And that day was just like a park day, and we didn't really rush around a lot, which was cool for us because all the parks that we go to, we're usually rushing around everything.
Yeah.
To every ride and everything. Yes, we walk, fast in between rides, but it was our first time going to a park alone.
Yeah.
With just us two.
This was our first vacation alone, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we went to Disney when I was pregnant.
Yeah, our baby Moon.
But again, I was pregnant, so I wasn't super comfortable. Like, it didn't feel like, yeah, we connected, but it didn't, I don't know. It wasn't, I didn't have the best time. It was real fast, too.
It was like a 2-day trip.
I think it was like 3 days.
Yeah.
And the Airbnb wasn't nice. So it was a rough trip.
Yeah.
So this is the first trip that we've gone on without me being pregnant, without a kid, without our families, because we would go on family vacations. Just me and Terrence. And it was so fun. Like, we had so much fun. And in full transparency, we were like counting pennies because we were so broke at the time.
Yeah.
Or like,
no, we were waiting for a check.
Yeah, we were waiting for my check, and it got delayed for some reason.
No, it wasn't delayed. I
don't know. Something was happening.
Something happened.
And I think we usually get paid 2 days prior to like my normal payday, but that for some reason that week we got paid like the day of, which is not normal.
Yeah.
And we had spent all of our money on like paying for the vacation. So like we were like, okay, what do we do now? But we made it work. Yeah. But other than that, like, it was so peaceful. It was so much fun. It was like we're little kids just like going around the park, but it was so fun.
Yeah. So we spent 2 days at the park and 1 day at Halloween Horror Nights. And we did go through that like penny pinching stage for the first 2 days. Yeah. And that's another thing. Like, I had to have full faith that Chas was going to be okay. And she had to have full faith in me that we were going to make everything work and eat and get to the hotel destination and everything. And we almost did not make it. We almost didn't, but we made it. So we went to Halloween Horror Nights, and then we drove about an hour down to Cape Canaveral. Is that what it is?
I think so.
I think it's Canaveral, Port Canaveral. I don't know. All you Orlandianas or Orlandians.
All the people who live in Orlando.
All the people who live in Orlando. You can comment and let me know what it's called. I think it's called Port Canaveral. Anyway, we went on our first cruise, and the parks were so like not busy, but you were still walking around everywhere. So we were still tired, but the cruise was relaxing.
Oh my gosh. Well,
and go ahead.
I was going to say it was a party cruise.
Yeah.
We're not like super big partiers. And so it was either you were drinking all day or you were literally just like doing nothing.
Yeah.
And so obviously we were doing nothing. Like, we would eat, we would go lay out, and then we'd go back to the room and we would sleep, and then we would get dressed and go to dinner and then come back and sleep. And it was incredible.
Well, the first night there was like we found a jacuzzi.
Oh,
and there was a couple on the other side, and then there was us. Like, the hot tubs were like sitting right next to each other. Yeah. But other than that, the entire deck was empty.
Yeah, just us.
And we sat there for about an hour in the hot tub and just like talked. And
on top of a freaking cruise, like, what in the world? What is life?
And it was night, so you can see all the stars and everything. You could see, we were in the back. Sorry. So you can see the wake and everything.
gorgeous.
And we just sat there and talked for like ever. And then
Yeah.
I thought the other couple was going to come and like try and talk with us and everything, but they stayed over there and they talked and everything. So that was on the first night. And then after that, we kind of just walked around and
we played mini golf. That was probably my favorite part. It was so fun.
And I had a lot of ice cream.
Yes.
A lot.
Every time we passed the ice cream, he would get a cone.
Get an ice cream. Let's see. What else did I do? I didn't play basketball. I almost did.
Yeah, it was just really hot.
Yeah, it was really hot. It was a 3-day cruise. We do not stay up past like 9:30 ever.
No.
So it was very hard because everything, like all the fun events were like at
like
10.
the shows and everything.
And we're like,
but we did stay up and it was fine. Like we would get a coffee or something and we were fine. And it ended up really being fun because we got out of our comfort zone a little bit. But like the thing about a cruise is like you can choose what you go to.
Yeah.
And so the first night, of course, we did everything. And then the second night we did a lot. And then the last night we were on the cruise, we were like, okay, let's go to bed early because we have to wake up.
Yeah, and drive and all the things.
Yeah, so it was just kind of, we went on our own pace. I wouldn't really recommend the cruise we went on. It wasn't my favorite cruise, and like watching videos of other cruises.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go on a nicer cruise. But
well, the 3-day cruise was hard.
Yeah.
I think if we could do it again, as much as I love Universal, I would probably rather do a 7-day cruise.
Yeah, for sure. I think either our next vacation or maybe our family vacation will do a 7-night cruise because we loved like the cruise experience itself. Like, so fun. So,
but I think it was just too fast.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, we did love it, and I'm not saying we didn't love it, and we did, you know, we were intimate and we reconnected. We talked a lot. Like, we did everything that we need to do on our week-long vacation.
For sure.
So like, I'm not like bashing it. We had fun.
No, not at all. It was amazing. And like, I mean, the fact that we were able to go, I talk to him all the time because I'm like, look at our lives now compared to when we were first married. Like, we could not even afford McDonald's. Like, we were so broke into like, obviously we don't go on like the most extravagant vacations, but like the fact that we've been to Disney World 2 times and we've been 3 times. We've been to Disney World 3 times. Like, that alone, like, what?
Yeah, and we've only been married for 4. So.
I know, like, that's insane. And so
we've
like,
made it work.
Yeah, for sure. And like going to Universal and being able to go on a cruise, like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like, that is incredible. And that's such a blessing because I never, like, if you would have told me 2 years ago that we would be doing a vacation like that, I would have been like, you're freaking crazy. Like, no way. So,
but anyway, that about sums up our topic of conversation today. We just want to reiterate. That's the correct word. Thank you. How important it is dating within your marriage. Like I said, if you don't want to do any of the stuff that we talked about, okay. Like I said, we're just talking back and forth with each other.
Yeah.
And this is what we do within our marriage. And this is what we think is important. If you like what we talked about today, go ahead and leave a comment below.
Yes,
let us
please.
know like how you appreciate it, or if you didn't agree with some things, I guess you can leave us hate comments too. I don't prefer it. That's gonna make me sad and make me cry.
But here's the thing, like Terrence was saying in the beginning, we are not professionals.
Yeah,
we are just doing what works for us. And if that's not what works for you, or if you can't afford to go on weekend trips or whatever the case may be, like, we get it. Like, that's hard.
Yeah.
It is hard to, and it's hard to make that time, especially when you don't have someone to watch your kids.
Yep.
And so we understand if that's just not working for you, but we do highly recommend making time for your marriage, even if that means like the at-home date nights. Even if you can't get away for the weekend, put the kids down and make time for each other. I know it's so hard. At the end of the day, you're so tired and you just want to go to bed.
Yeah.
But prioritize your marriage because it's so important. And yeah, you don't have to agree with anything we're saying, and we're not trying to make anyone do anything, but from our perspective and from talking to other married couples, like, it's so important.
Yeah, it is very important. But anyway, that is it for this podcast. Thank you for listening to week 2 of the Always Wilson podcast. Insert slogan here. I don't think we'll insert the slogan at the end, just at the beginning. We don't have a slogan yet, so if you have something that goes with the Always Wilson podcast, let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Yes, it still is a YouTube channel. You're still getting the attractions. You're still getting the family like content, the what did they call it? Vlogs and everything.
Yes.
We just added this podcast. And once again, thank you for listening. I think that's about it.
Yeah, leave comments if you have any ideas of topics that you want to hear too.
We have a few topics ready.
And we have a couple guests in mind.
Yeah, we have 3 guests in mind.
I'm so excited.
3 couples.
This is so fun.
But anyway, I'll see y'all next time.
Bye,
Cass will see you next time. See you later.